I managed to lose over 100 pounds in 6 months without ever counting calories or even having a coach do it for me. And I'm going to show you exactly how I did that, and even better, how you can do it yourself. Because that's actually really easy. So as we all know, it's always been and always will be calorie in versus calorie out. And nobody can escape the laws of thermodynamics, and that's definitely not what we're trying to do here. And a big disclaimer, this is not a fad diet, and we're not going to be cutting out any food groups because that is unbelievably stupid. But more so, we're going to be taking a scientific approach at data collection. And I have the IQ of a drugged up chihuahua, so if I can do it, I'm pretty sure you can too. So this will require 5 things. Number 1, a meal plan that works for you. And this can be absolutely anything, but just know that the less processed the food is, the better. The more organic the food you use, the better, because that means that there's going to be less chemicals, which is going to cause inflammation and water retention. That is generally why you want to avoid having things too regularly, like protein bars or other fillers like Jell-O, because these can ruin your gut health pretty quickly and make you take 3 steps backwards towards the bathroom. Now, these meals in your meal plan should be comprised of 3 parts. One will be your carbs, your second will be either your meats or your protein sources, and you guessed it for number 3, veggies. Now, when I was actually doing it, I completely hated veggies at first, so I omitted taking any veggies and I was taking green powder instead to fill in for all those nutrients that I needed. Because look, if you don't have any carbs, you won't have the energy to work hard in the gym or just do your daily tasks. If you don't have any protein, you're gonna be hungry all day and your muscle's gonna waste away while you burn the fat. And for veggies, well, nutrients and the fact they actually fill you up pretty good. And now, for number 2, it has to be simple. See, because if you got super fat, chances are that there's some sort of weird food addiction going on or some horrible self-control issues, right? And I'm talking out of experience here. So that's why having access to all these bad foods is just gonna make your life harder. This is why I opted out for keeping it as simple as possible. My egg noodles, my meats, which were generally just chicken or beef. And for portions, that was super easy. I didn't actually end up weighing anything because that extra step would have been the death of me. So I ended up just using measuring cups. So for me, my meals consisted of 1 cup of meat and 1 cup of carbs. But keep in mind that I was 372 pounds, had a very decent amount of muscle mass already on me, and I was training like an absolute animal. So I started off with my 1 cup meals and I was having 5 to 6 meals a day. And for me, this was an easy way to stay consistent, but more importantly, I was full all day, because we all know that when you're not full, when you're very hungry, that's when you start thinking about binging. So how do we adapt this to you? Let's say you weigh 200 pounds. Maybe it'd be a good thing to try to just cut those portions in half. And then if you realize that you're losing weight too fast or that you're always hungry, maybe raise them up a little bit by 1/4 cup. Or if you're always full and you find yourself that you're force feeding and that your weight might actually be going up, then it might be time to lower the amount of food that you're eating. But you want to be doing this very slowly and keeping every change that you do for at least 1 week to see how your body reacts. But at the end of the day, it's always just about finding something that works for you that you can do very consistently. And if you absolutely wanted to count calories, then you would only have to do it once, because you're gonna be eating the exact same thing every single day. And because there's no more variables being introduced, you don't have to track. Now, I am really trying to pour my life into this content, and any sort of support, whether it be a sub or a like or a comment, can be more to me than you could ever imagine, because that means that this content can get to more people so we can help more people. So if you could just drop me anything, I would love you forever and I would be so appreciative. And let's get back to the video for number 3. You cannot add variables. See, if you don't want to count calories, you're going to have to be animalistically consistent, because every single time you go off plan, you just ruined an entire day's worth of data. Because how do you know if that protein bar didn't just have 400 calories that you just ate, and it was full of these chemicals that made you inflamed or that made you kept water, so that the scale the next day isn't accurate anymore? And this is where the science, or at least just maybe common sense, that comes in. Because take note of this. If you eat the exact same thing every single day, the data will have no variables. And if there are no variables being introduced into the equation, you are now on your way to losing weight, because using the data that you have acquired, you can then make the changes that are necessary for your body to adapt, going up, down, or whichever way you want to go, without counting calories. And number 4, I know this one people are probably going to be happy to hear about. Your physical activity needs to be scalable. So what I mean by that is, don't go balls to the wall right off the start. See, because when it comes to weight loss, it's really a lazy man's game of how little can I do to be burning the most amount of weight. And the reason you should see it like that is quite simple. Because if you start with an hour of cardio every single day, then your body gets desensitized, which it will over time. And why? Because your cardiovascular system will get better and stronger over time. So when you do eventually plateau, and knowing that your food quantities is the last thing that you want to touch, that means you're going to have to either increase your intensity in the gym or increase your cardio time. So trust me when I say that going from 60 to 70 minutes is a hell of a lot harder than if you were to do 20 minutes of actual quality cardio at 130 BPMs and now had to increase to 25 minutes. So you make the increase for a full week and then you see how your body reacts to it. Only after that do you make any changes, but make sure to do it very slowly. So I personally started at 20 minutes twice a day at a heart rate of 130 BPMs. And then I very, very slowly, as I was coming close to hitting plateaus, increased it to 25 and then eventually 30 minutes twice a day. And I actually stuck to my 30 minutes twice a day for the majority part of my first 100 pounds lost. And now coming in for number 5. And this one's actually very important. Data collection. I track my weight every single day to make sure that it was going in the right direction and also to detect plateaus early or to detect plateaus very quickly before actually hitting them. To ABC, always be cutting. You can make your own if you want, but the more data that you collect, the absolute better. I'm gonna link you to the exact one that I was using. It'll just be like 10 bucks or something. It's Google Excel sheet based, so it's super simple to use. So you can track your weight daily, your steps, and also it'll create these graphs to show you exactly where your weight is trending. Now, you really don't need this specific one, but at least find some way to track your own data. And now that we have every single one of these things together, you can lose weight without actually tracking. But you cannot deviate. See, to use this method, you need to adopt this absolute animalistic mindset that food is fuel and nothing more. And see, I'm very aware that this method probably won't work for everybody, but it did for me. And it's been working for my friend and client Josh here, who lost 82 pounds in just over 100 days. And obviously this won't heal your bad food habits, but I can promise you that by the time that you lose the weight and feel better about your own life, it'll be a hell of a lot easier to fix your relationship with food. And ultimately, yourself. Because nobody reaches that level of morbid obesity without having some sort of mental kerfuffle happening in there. With that, thank you for tuning in. If you're still here, at least throw me a sub or a comment, or just tell me that I'm full of I hope you have a great day.